See, guys, so it's a wonderful day for you to correspond to a better way of life. So, what you need to do every single day is focus on yourself more. I understand when you focus on yourself more, what's going to happen is you're going to have much more love for yourself. So, you need to understand every single day of your life, you have to really, really be much more in life. Do things every single day that's corresponding to a better way of life for you. Make sure you understand to always have money in your pocket, making sure every single day you're doing something in accordance to helping yourself to succeed. Do you understand? So you have to understand that every single day is going to be always something for you to be grateful about, and you need to focus on yourself the most. So I realize now in my music production and my life, for example, I'm making more techno music these days, and I'm also starting a new album for myself because I want to really get myself to the point of helping myself to do better. So what does that have to do with improvement? I realize the thing is that it has something to do with my life. So I'm just explaining to you my life, for example. So I understand that what you need to do is always plan in your life. Always be able to plan something according to what you are. Do you understand? I promise you what I mean is, so you have to plan in daily life. You have to plan your life out. You have to really see what you can do today to improve your life. So that's the most important thing in life, is making sure every single day of your life is going to be something to look forward to. So you have to keep optimistic, and you have to stick to the word I. Do you understand? I mean, what does that mean anyway? I realize it means that you have to use the word I in terms of your words, and you have to make something out of that. You have to make something out of your life. So every single day, going the distance with yourself every single day, the most you can. Understanding, I see understanding how to speak, for example, is the best way forward. So you understand that you can always develop yourself into the person you want to be. Do you understand? So you have all the opportunities to do so, but you need to read and you need to get yourself out there. You have to understand that you have to prosper and grow the most you can. But try to do it the free way. I mean, you have to understand that, for example, for myself, and why I'm not advertising on social media in terms of paid advertising, is because it doesn't work out for me. I realize that I have no product to sell for money because I'm not making any money on the content that I make. And the reason for this is because I don't have enough exposure to make something of a product to sell, because people don't trust me right now. I realize people don't trust me as much as other people, for example. So the reason people don't trust me is because they don't know me, and because they're not aware about what I can provide in terms of information. So the thing is that I don't really care about that. I realize I don't really care about whether they are going to see my content or not. I realize everyone out there is already speaking my content through their words, and you have to understand that whatever you say in life, someone else has already said it. You understand? But you have to make original content basing it on what you've learned. You understand? So you have to go a certain way and go a certain direction in which you can talk and in which you can be something even more for yourself, where you can actually develop your sense of who you are by the words you say. And that's how you create meaning. So if you want to create meaning in your life, you have to speak words. You understand? And you have to do much more about helping yourself to grow. You understand? Because that's what life is. I realize life is about being sober and in the moment every single day, and understanding sometimes to treat yourself to dinner, or treating yourself to some game out there, or going to an event sometimes, and understanding that growth is a slow journey. And you have to understand the reason I brand myself, for example, is because I understand that I am my own business. You understand? I am my own business, and that's why I need to make sure that I produce all the photos every single day of myself as much as I can, and get the most information out there in the world as I can, for example, as much as I can, because the more information I spread out there into the universe, the more I will learn from it. I'm learning something from what I say and from what I do. So what I understand that I need to get myself into a better state of mind all the time. I have to make sure that I'm eating correctly. I have to make sure I'm doing things in a better way. And not that I'm eating correctly. I realize it's not that I'm eating correctly. I realize it's much more, I need to eat better. I need to do things better. I need to speak better. I need to practice my material better. I need to practice the person I am better. I have to make sure that I'm practicing something. I have to make sure that I'm going certain directions in what I'm saying and in what I'm doing, and that my words are aligning to my actions. Apparently, that's the number one thing that I've had the most difficulty with, is trying to align my actions to my words. You understand? I think everyone's in that position, and some people are actually living their talk and they're living according to their actions and to their words. You understand? So some people speak words and stuff like that, and they're not really doing what they say. You understand? So you have to understand that people who do that are suffering. They're suffering because they're not living up to their own expectations. So as soon as you start living to your own expectations, I promise you, as soon as you start speaking more words and you find out your own expectations for the words you speak, then you can start to understand those are your goals. So I realize my only goal is to be better than yesterday, and that's it. I realize all I ever want to do in my life is make sure that you guys have all the prosperity and all of the abundance in the world, as much as you can have from me, so that I can produce as much content as possible, so that I can live my life greater, and so that you can benefit from my words and from my advice. I realize I'm a life coach. I've been a life coach for 5 years, and because I've been doing life coaching for quite some time now, I realize I've learned some things along the way, and that's all I teach. I just teach what I've learned. I teach you the best information in the world. Yes, and I try to provide the best information for free, and eventually just try to expose myself as much as possible. But I understand it's not about fame. Yes, I don't want to be famous, but I want to have exposure to the point where I need to be. I need to be at a level where people understand that I'm just at a service, and that I'm just a service of information. And that's what's currently happening. Like, for example, I'm achieving my goals right now. I realize I'm in a better state of mind right now than ever before in terms of some ways. For example, I'm helping much more people now. I'm helping much more in my words. I'm doing much more of what I set out to do in my words. And I'm progressing fully the best way I can right now. But I'm not sure how long I can go for. For example, I realize I do have some improvements I need to make in myself, and I need to do the inner work. Do you understand? I have to work inside of myself to understand that out there is not the direction you want to go in. I realize it's really stay inside of yourself. I realize if you're not comfortable in your own shoes, okay, then what makes you think that other people will be comfortable with you? I mean, the first thing off you have to understand is, if you're not in comfort in your shoes, I realize if you're in discomfort every single day, it just means that you're growing as an individual. So you have to learn to process that emotion, and you have to learn to process your feelings, and you have to stop putting toxins into your body, and you have to really understand that life is a perspective, isn't it? So the more you really understand how to speak and how to talk, for example, and the more you actually write material and do the best thing you can every single day so that you can produce content much more often, I promise you that's your purpose. I realize your purpose is really every single day to produce as much content so you can help people, so you can do the best job for yourself. You understand? So I understand that, yes, you have to produce little bits of information here and there, but sometimes try to go the long distance as well. I mean, try to produce long information. Try to produce 1 hour videos. You understand? That's what I do. And I do that because I don't want to wait for myself to post all this content online so that someone can see it. I want to make sure that I'm growing myself. So what I do is I make longer pieces of content first, and then I make shorter bits of content that I can post up online, for example. You understand? So you have to realize that there's always a direction that you can go in where you can help yourself grow and you can meet new people and stuff, but you have to expose yourself out there, and you have to understand that you have to have a public profile on social media today, because when you have a private profile, you have to understand you're letting yourself down, because people who have private profiles on social media, for example, what happens is they're not helping as much people as possible. I mean, what they're doing is they're trying to make money. So, for example, I see this guy, for example, I realize his profile is on private, for example. And it means that he's not helping people as much. I mean, he's not producing content, I can see that. I realize the people who are not producing content, for example, are the consumers of life. Do you understand? So the reason I produce content is because I read so much. And because I read so much, I've been taught by other people, and I've been taught by them to just produce as much content as possible so that I can help myself in my self-development journey. Do you understand? And that's what I need to do every single day. I need to develop myself into the person that I need to be. You understand? So I need to make sure that I go to the gym. I have to make sure every single day I shower, every single day I groom every single day. I have to make sure I look good every single day, because that's just a part of life. I promise you, people remember you for your first impression. So the first impression always matters, and you have to realize that if you want to go down in history as someone in life, then you have to produce as much content as possible, because that content will lead you somewhere. I promise you, will lead you in a better direction, and you have to understand you can go places and you can do things. I realize nothing is out of reach when you can produce content. I promise you. I promise you, the more content you produce, the better you get in terms of what you're doing. So you have to realize it's a long-term perspective. And you have to understand that if I didn't produce all the content that I produced, guess what? I realized my life would be minimized to some extent. And I wouldn't be living up to my full potential. And I realized that people always notice the people who are producing more content. And why is that? Because they have something to say. I realize they're expressing their mind. I realize they're much more themselves, and they're much more living in authenticity because they want to improve. I realize when you benefit yourself so much to realize that the moment you start helping other people more, I realize what happens is you start to have much more self-compassion for yourself as well. In a sense, so you have to realize that there are people out there who are helping up, they're helping other people more than themselves. In a sense, so you have to realize that they're coming from a good heart, but they're also coming from a bad heart for themselves. You understand? Because they're helping other people more than themselves. I realize you have to realize that you have to help yourself more than anything in life. So you have to understand that it starts with self-love. I understand that self-love is very powerful. I realize if you realize anything about life, that the more you self-love yourself, I realize that's the beginning and that's the end as well. So you have to understand that you're going to be in your shoes for a lifetime. You understand? And the best way to go out in style, as Jim Rohn says, is to help others as much as possible. So try to give as much advice out there as you can. You understand? The more advice you give to people who need it, I promise you, the thing is that you're going to help people with content that you're producing. You understand? So you have to realize it's much more about being compassionate every single day, understanding how to speak your mind, understanding every single day how to really live the dream that is words and that is your passion. I understand that if you want to do better, for example, you have to realize it starts with you. I realize you have to understand that every single day you have to always progress forward. So progressing forward is a means to something in a better fashion. So you have to understand that you have to speak better for yourself. You have to really incline yourself to see exactly where you're going as a person. Because the moment you start helping other people, is the moment you start to really help yourself. In a sense, so you have to realize that people can either give money, and they can either give words or silence or anything that they're producing, for example, to help other people to understand about themselves, to understand their story. So, first of all, you have to express your story. I realize you have to express who you are. And if you're not expressing who you are, then you're letting yourself down. I promise you, the life and the key to life is expressing yourself the most you can every single day, making sure that people are out there in the world doing better. You understand? I realize that's my purpose. I realize my purpose is for you to do better and for other people to do better. You understand? Because that's what I see in life. I realize that's how I understand life much more. So what I do to communicate is I always come back to the word I realize every single day I speak the word I understand how to progress forward in my communication. So you have to understand that as soon as you understand that word I realize that's the beginning of your life. I realize that's the beginning of how to understand life. You understand? I can understand that when you start speaking fluently, for example, you understand what I mean. So you have to understand every single day you have to every single day do something in your life that's going to help yourself to succeed. You understand? So that's the whole point in life, is really moving forward every single day the most you can so that you can progress in some fashion every single day, making sure you're doing something productive for yourself and making sure you're reading. But you have to understand that, for example, with branding, you have to understand it builds credibility, and it also helps you decipher from your competitors. You understand? So, for example, what I mean is you have an edge. I realize this edge is that you are much more in the spotlight, for example, and much more in terms of a person who has status around town. So when you have status around town, I realize that's a reputation. You understand? So you have to understand that when you start branding yourself, people can see your colors. I realize people can see exactly who you are because that's what you express about your business. So you have to understand that you have to have a clear goal and clear objective about your business. So I realize my clear objective and my personal business is all around helping people to brand themselves and helping people to see exactly what branding is. And that's it, approach. That's the purpose of my business. So you have to realize that all I do in life is try to help people to brand themselves and more. You understand? That's my purpose. So you have to make your own purpose in life, and you have to be a good heart, of course, and you have to understand every single day is going to always be a new day where you can grow. Yes, and you have to always produce as much words as possible every single day, and try to always live to your expectations. Yes, and so when you live up to your expectations, you're going to be happier. You're going to have much more dreams to fulfill, and you're going to have more goals. You're going to have more benefits in life. You're going to have more benefits, and you're going to have much more to talk about, because life is talking about things. And when you talk about things in an everyday manner, what happens is every single day you have a purpose to speak something that's going to help other people. Yes, and so you have to realize that's the whole goal, isn't it? I realize I can say every single day the goal is to just help yourself the most. And the most you can help yourself every single day is by speaking words. So you have to realize every single day you have to always produce as much content as possible so that you can live life to the fullest every single day, making sure that no matter what happens that you're growing as an individual. Yes, and so what am I going to do today? I realize you have to understand I have a lot of content to do. I realize I have a lot of producing content to do. I have to produce content. I realize if I have nothing to do, all I do is produce content. Yes, and so I have to focus on my quotes. I have to also encourage myself to do better. Okay, and I have a lot of music production to do. I have also words to produce, for example, and that's what I do all day. Yeah, so I just try to write in my journal as much as I can. I try to take care of myself. I try to love myself as much as possible, and I try to be on the better side of me. I try to help myself to deliver whatever I can so that I can succeed. Yes, and so that's the whole point of life. I realize the whole point of life is taking care of yourself as much as you can. I realize the moment you take care of yourself more, I realize people are going to see that you're shining. Yes, and they're going to see that there's something about you that's exuberant and something about you that's really joyful in you, that they can see joy in you, and that's going to make them happier. Because you have to understand, it makes me happy when other people are happy. You understand? When other people are happy, I get happy. But when other people are upset, I also tend to try to help them. I never get upset because they are upset. So I never get upset if they are upset, but I try to find compassion for those people. I try to give them words of advice and try to help them in some kind of way to never cry and to give them a shoulder to lean on, for example, because that's what people need, for example. I realize people need a mentor. I realize people need someone who can go out there and help them to succeed in finance or economics or anything in life. And you have to realize that every single day is going to always bring new opportunities. Yes, and so you have to always focus on the better picture. Yes, and so when you focus on the better picture, I realize what happens every single day is a new style or new fashion trend or something that you can produce in terms of anything that you can do in life. You have to understand you're doing it so that you can help yourself grow. You understand? So you have to be a producer. I realize every single day, be a producer of something. You understand? Because every single day is worth living if you understand how to really live life. And when you understand how to live life, you find meaning in the words you speak. You understand? So you have to understand that people who have nothing to live for are the people who have to start producing more content. And you have to understand they have to produce more content to help other people, and that has to be their purpose. But people who have nothing to live for don't really help other people grow. You understand? So if you find yourself helping other people to grow, I promise you that means you've reached a new level of awareness. You understand? You're in a new self-compassion state and selfless state. You understand? So you have to understand that those people who are out there public speaking and giving information of some kind are really the go-getters. I realize they're the ones who you need to listen to. They're the ones that are out there giving ideas, and you have to really manifest those ideas in your life to apply them and to really live according to a better way of life. Do you understand? So I am much more of a producer now than I am a reader, for example, but I need to always constantly be reading, because when I start reading something for myself to grow, I realize it just benefits me to talk about it much more. Do you understand? So you have to realize every single day you need to always expose yourself as much as possible. I realize the more you expose yourself, I realize the more you can actually grow. And that's the whole point of life. I realize it's just to sprout into a flower, of a beautiful flower. So you have to understand every single day, just grow. I realize grow yourself every single day. Try to always help yourself the most. I mean, try to really see out there what you can do to help other people. I realize once you do that, you're going to get in a better state of mind. I realize you're going to get into a state of mind that's worth it, and you're going to be much better for it. So you have to understand every single day, always produce as much as you can, help yourself every single day with your mindset, help your health to grow. Do you understand that approach? That's what you need to do. I realize every single day, just make sure that you're worthy. I mean, make sure that in your life, you have much more happiness every single day, and making sure that you're producing everything in your heart that you can. I mean, try to tell your story. I mean, try to tell as much as you can about yourself. I mean, try to expose who you are into the world, and try to never leave anything hidden. I mean, try to never hide yourself. I mean, never hide your habits. I mean, never hide who you are, okay? And try to really be someone who's never hiding anything. I mean, never have anything to hide. Yes, and I mean, always be someone who's always exposing everything about yourself. And that way you're going to get much more into authenticity about who you are. Yes, and you're going to understand exactly your habits, and you're going to understand exactly what you need to do to move forward.